during the shooting, I was wondering, did you actually stay at the hotel?
Did I say it? No. But we did have rooms. No, I needed to separate myself, distance myself. So every day it was about a mile away, but it was a place where we could, it was a way of just separating myself from the everyday. But we did have rooms that were rented out, and some of our PAs stayed there. I mean, we had PAs staying there almost every night.
And is it because I read, I don't know if it's sure, but there were people actually staying there?
Oh yeah. It was semi-occupied at the time.
And for tourists or people who live there?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
And could you?
And the other motel, the one that we shot, Jancy's motel, the Futureland, that was 100% occupied with residents.
And how did they respond to the
process? They were wonderful. I mean, at first, of course, they were a little skeptical about what was going on. They wanted to know more. But I think that this was my 6th film, so they could Google me and they could see that what we're trying to do. And everybody was very, we tried to employ as many people as possible, work with whoever was enthusiastic. And we had a lot of motel residents actually work on the film and be in the film. So it was and also provide, what was extremely important for us was to be consultants in a way, just on a casual basis, but like to be able to, for a young mom with a few children living in one of these motels, to talk to Bria and tell her what it was like to be a mother, like it's struggling. They were so open and they were so generous with their time. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was one of the things I was wondering about, because I read that 60,000 people in the United States are living in this homelessness conditions.
Yeah, it's hard to come up with an exact number, but yes, it's definitely up there in the thousands. I would think it's even more, but because just in the Kissimmee, Orlando area alone, it's guesstimated that, because again, the Census Bureau, they find it difficult to come up with exact numbers because a lot of these families are transient. And they're living in motels, so how do you go to a motel and say who's a tourist and who's a resident? So you have, but there was because the school system knows how many children are obviously going to school, they've guesstimated that up to 5,000 homeless children live along Route 192 on any given day. So I think it would be a lot higher than 60.
Then it must be higher. And is there in the States, is there a taboo on these people and how they live? A taboo, like it's difficult to talk about and people feel uncomfortable with them?
Well, you mean the people from outside of that?
Yeah, people from outside, yeah.
Well, there is a little, you always find resistance if you're using a particular, this is a national problem. This story could have been told in New Jersey, Boston, San Bernardino, California. I mean, this is happening everywhere. It's just that we're using the very sad juxtaposition of this happening right outside of a place that we consider the happiest place on earth for children. So
Disneyland.
So we're using, Kissimmee and Orlando, Florida, to basically to be an example for the entire United States. So of course there's going to be slight resistance. Why are we the ones being used to get this message out there? But at the same time, what I realize is that there's a real struggle with the community to eradicate this, and it's not only a struggle, it's a desire, obviously. So we didn't get as much pushback as you'd think. If anything, we got really great feedback and collaboration and I'm talking like the agencies, the nonprofits in the area that provide social services to those in need. You have the small business owners, you have the residents themselves, you have managers, you have local government who are struggling because they don't have the budgets to help. So you have and private sector. So you have a lot of people trying to make a make a change and make a dent in this. And so they were open to speaking with
And is that maybe the biggest difference for you because it's your 6th film instead when it was your first?
Yes, there is definitely, I have to say that has helped me a lot. The fact that when I was making Prince of Broadway, which is about, undocumented immigrants in New York, you're approaching undocumented immigrants and asking about their lives and asking them to be open, and they don't know who you are. You could be the police, you could be ICE, you could be just very annoying film student. So it was, it took time. And then by Tangerine, which was the film I made before Florida Project, I had DVDs of my previous film. So it was much easier, it broke the ice a lot faster. And this time, because Tangerine actually was my biggest film in terms of exposure so far, it was very easy just to say, Google me, Google my name. And then so you got in a lot faster. And people also, I think, and I hope they look at my films and they say, this isn't going to be exploitative. This is going to be, hopefully, Sean has the sensibility that I've seen from his other films, that he's actually trying to make a difference here and trying to collaborate and hear our voice.
Is there a thin line between that, exploiting them maybe, or not that you did that, but when would that be the case?
Well, that would be the case when you march into a world that you're not from and say, I know your stories and I'm going to tell, this is a story I'm going to tell, trust me, I got this handled. That's not the way I do it. That would be exploitative. It's something, and I don't even have a screenplay when we begin this. We take the time, we approach this in a very journalistic way. We interview as many people as possible. We hear as many point of views as possible, and you have to get to the point where eventually you feel ethically comfortable saying, I am now in a place where I can write a fictionalized screenplay based on what I've seen. Now, that's debatable whether anybody can ever get to that point. So that's something that is actually my own, internal struggle. I have to just say, I'm ready to go. Way? And I always do. Yes, no, I would never start a project like this, I would never begin filming on a project like this unless I felt like everybody was on the same page and we were doing the right thing. And then there's also, I forgot to mention, there is an approval process. I always say to anybody I'm working with, read our treatments, read our script. I would love to hear feedback if there's any, if you object to anything being said, if there's a different way of saying it, if you feel that we aren't covering this or representing this world properly, please let us know. And so there's that. That's something that's happening at every stage: pre-production, production, and post-production. So.
I think for me, because that would be my next question, that's most striking. You see that coming back in the dialogues, because the dialogues are so vivid that it's hard to believe that somebody once thought about them, wrote them down, and everybody does it.
Well, it's just about being observant, and slang obviously is so important because it's the local dialect to a certain degree, and that's what makes it authentic. That's when. And the need not to have to define these words to an audience. That's always something that I can't stand when I see that in films where they feel like, but it's obviously not being made for those people in that situation. It's being made for other people. If you have to define everything somebody's saying, you know what I mean? Explain.
So that would be,
I try to avoid that as much as possible.
That would be maybe the tip you can give for beginning filmmakers if they want to work on their dialogues.
If you have a command of that, that regional dialogue or whatever, then go ahead, do it. But if you don't, you have to get consultants. You have to make sure that it's accurate. Just be literally just keep your ears open. That's what I do all the time. I mean, slang is the first thing that really, I think helps sell a world to somebody. When they hear I would give an example, like with Tangerine, one of the first words that we hear out of the mouths of the characters, they're talking about, a fish, and we never explain what a fish is. We just sorry, if you're going to take this ride with these characters, you're going to have to keep up and just, so, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it's a good lesson. Always keep your ears open, and especially when you're in an environment that's new for you, and listen to what people say. And of course, the bright light of the film is Brooklyn Prince, Mooney, the main character, the girl who is 6 years old. And I, of course, watched some videos on her on YouTube in which you see that she is not the girl in the film, because when you're watching, you think she must be this character. It must be her just doing other stuff she doesn't do at home. But can you maybe explain for all the people who don't go on YouTube, what's the difference between Brooklyn Prince, the girl, and Mooney?
Okay, well, you're right. It's funny because this morning I turned on Twitter and I read Florida Project is based on Brooklyn Prince's real life.
Wow.
I don't know why people are just assuming this. I guess it's a good thing because that means they truly believe. I've had people in Q&As come up to me and ask me if Brooklyn's okay and if she's... this is still, it is a feature fiction film. I mean, there's, But anyway, what's special about Brooklyn is that she's honestly one of the best dramatic actors, the most powerful, strongest dramatic actors I've worked with of any age. I mean, she really understands the concept of acting, even at her young age, the craft of acting. She understands
And her mom
character.
Is an acting coach,
yes,
right?
Yes,
okay,
and that obviously helps in a big way.
Yeah,
and
but still, it's a kid.
She came from, she had experience. She did some commercials. She lives in the area, but her background is not that depicted in the film, fortunately for her. She's also just, I have to say, she's an old soul. She's aware of what's going on, even if she, even at her young age. And it's really incredible to see the enthusiasm that she has. She loves doing this. You've seen the YouTube clips. She loves meeting her heroes like Gal Gadot, Daisy Ripley. What's her name? Ridley, Daisy Ridley. That's her name, Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley.
That from Star Wars?
I thought so, but
yeah.
now I'm guiding as well.
She's meeting her heroes, Gal Gadot, Daisy Ridley. She's having fun. She's really. It's as if she was born to do this, and I really do put her in the same category as a Mickey Rooney or a Jodie Foster, because I really feel as if she has a really incredible, bright career ahead of her. And it just not just acting. I mean, she wants to direct, and I have a feeling she will, because she's just so intelligent and so full of heart. And then on top of that, she's actually becoming, in a way, because she's the face of the film and she's doing a lot of PR on the film. Her and her family have decided to use her platform to be an advocate to end homelessness. And it's really wonderful to see her, even at 7 years old, get on talk shows such as Jimmy Kimmel and talk about how, as a country, we should do everything we can do to help the homelessness situation and to bring the affordable housing crisis to an end. It's really incredible to see a 7-year-old talk about this.
I can recommend.
And it's genuine. Yeah. It's not something her parents told her to do. It's coming from her heart, which is so wonderful.
Yeah, I can recommend watching interviews with her about the film, because she, like you said, it was a nice way of putting it. She has an old soul, so she gives answers.
Yeah.
But you think, what?
Yeah.
Did you really come up with this answer? It's so profound and.
I was at where were we? In Paris, and we had a show to do. And then afterwards, she comes up to me and she goes, "Hey, Sean, you want to get a drink at the..." No, not like an alcohol drink, but she was like, "Hey, we're going to get a drink afterwards. Okay, I'll text you." You know, it's incredible.
Stop.
Yeah, yeah.
I also read in a lot of reviews, like quotes like, "This is Sean Baker's breakthrough film. It's Sean Baker's new Tarantino."
Yes, I've made 4 breakthrough films.
Yeah, because I was wondering,
still waiting to break through.
How does it feel then that everybody is now writing, "Wow, it's now you're the top."
Well, I don't think I'm just getting, you know, whatever recognition. It's great because it just helps me get financing for the next film. You know, that's all that really matters for me. And my actors who are getting wonderful recognition. And of course, you know, the film deals with issues that I would like people to be aware of. So the more exposure the film gets, the more that people will be hopefully aware of the situation that's going on in the United States. I didn't even know about the term, I didn't know of the term the hidden homeless until my co-screenwriter brought it to my attention. I didn't know this was happening in the United States. I was ignorant to it. And perhaps, you know, whatever the film can do in terms of exposure will, you know, will make people aware of it, other people aware of it.
So there's a little Brooklyn Prince also inside of you.
Oh, well, I guess. Yeah, exactly.
Advocating for the hidden homelessness. Mm. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you
and
for
enjoy
having
your
me.
stay.
Thanks. I will. I'm very excited about being here in Rotterdam because I've always wanted to play this festival, but I didn't play it with Tangerine. No. But I didn't attend. This is my first time I've been here, and so I've been trying to play Rotterdam since day one. So it's
why?
Been like, well, because you know it's a very prestigious festival, and it's a festival that I've heard about from my peers for a long time. It's very special, and you know the programming being top notch, and also this part of the world, you know, to break into to have audiences. Appreciate your work here means a lot because you know that audiences here have taste. So.
Thank you.
Okay.